One of the most common questions I get from clinic owners is, should we run Google ads or should we run Meta ads? And there's usually a story that's behind the question. Maybe they tried one and it didn't work out, or an agency said, hey, you should try Meta ads, and they were questioning if it's the right one. But the thing is, Google and Meta are fundamentally different platforms and they don't really compete with each other. Google is a platform that captures demand that already exists, versus Meta is a platform that creates new demand that doesn't exist yet. And once you understand that, that's when the question shifts from which one to which one do I need for my clinic right now. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking in this video today. I'm going to give you the differences between which platform you should be using for your clinic and how to decide which one you need to do right now. Let's start with the core distinction because everything flows down from this. Like I said before, Google captures demand that already exists. So this is someone who is already looking for neurofeedback or already looking for TMS within their city. They have the problem, they understand what the solution is that they're looking for, and this is why they go to Google and try to find someone that is going to help them. And when you place your ad when they're searching for services like yours, you're more likely to get the click and also the conversion. Meta ads, which is essentially Facebook and Instagram, is demand creation. Nobody opens Instagram and starts looking for a $6,000 treatment. They are scrolling mindlessly to find entertainment. But then if your ad shows up, you can pique their interest. And the reason that this matters is maybe your ideal patients don't even know that you exist. There are people out there who can't sleep, who have tried antidepressants that haven't worked, can't focus, but they don't know that you exist, which is why you need Meta to get in front of these people. Remember, they can't really search for something that they don't know exists. So think about it this way. Google finds people for you who are already looking for your service, versus Meta helps you tap into new audiences that don't know that your treatment exists yet. Both are valuable, but they solve different problems. And if you choose the wrong one, you might conclude that this isn't working for me and stop advertising altogether, which shouldn't be the case. So let's go a little bit deeper on Google Ads. Google Ads' strength is that it has high intent. These are people who are already in the motion of finding a solution for their problem. They might even be comparing clinics at this point, and they might just stumble upon your ad, click onto your website, and submit a lead because they need to talk to someone. And this is why healthcare converts as well as it does. On Google Ads, healthcare has a conversion rate of approximately 12%. And this is because if someone has a problem, they go to Google. When they go to Google and they type in a treatment that they're looking for, your ad shows up, they go to your website, vet you, everything looks good, they're gonna submit a lead and try to get in touch with someone at your clinic. And this has nothing to do with marketers being geniuses. It has everything to do with the people who are actually inquiring through Google Ads. Now let's talk about what Google Ads actually cost. In the medical industry, you have a click-through rate of 3.27%, which essentially means that the number of people that see your ad, 3.27% are going to click through on the ad to a landing page or a website. That being said, the cost per lead varies significantly from $50 all the way up to $130. And this is primarily because of the range of services. For example, hospitals are lower around the $50 mark versus elective surgeries like cosmetic surgeries are around the $130 mark. So the cost depends entirely on your specialty and also your market. For example, a TMS clinic in a mid-sized city might have completely different economics than a ketamine clinic in Los Angeles. But this is where Google gets limited. First, you're capped by search volume. For example, if on Google there are only 200 searches for, let's say, TMS therapy in your city, well, that's the maximum amount of demand that you have on Google. And you can't really buy more demand unless you create it. And second, Google is getting more and more expensive. And the reason for this is because, like I showed you in the previous slide, that the click-through rates and the cost per leads and the conversion rates are pretty high. So everyone is bidding on that small pool of high intent patients, which of course causes the ad cost to spike. So like I said, Google is an excellent tool for capturing high intent leads. However, if you have a limited marketing budget or the search volume, the demand is low in your market, then Google might not be the right play for you. Now let's talk about Meta. And Meta is actually my favorite platform because it's push marketing. You get your service out in front of more people. The strength with Meta is reach and cost. Yes, you're going to get a lot of awareness because you're going to be able to reach more people, and you're also going to get cheaper clicks because people are intrigued by what you have to offer. And you can see clicks from $1.50 all the way up to $9, but that really depends on your targeting and your creative as well. But cheap clicks are worthless if they don't actually convert. So why am I recommending you Meta? Because Meta lets you lead with the symptom and not the treatment. So let's talk about the difference here. On Google, you're bidding on keywords like neurofeedback for ADHD, TMS therapy near me, or ketamine assisted psychotherapy clinic in city. On Meta, when you lead with the symptom, it's a lot easier to capture audiences that don't know you exist. Because think about it this way, if you have an ad out there that says something like, your child isn't lazy, their brain is just working harder than others to fulfill the same task. Well, now you're talking to a parent that hasn't even thought about the fact that there's a treatment out there for their child. And now you've piqued their interest. And because you piqued their interest, they're going to start researching it. And when they start researching it, they're going to go to Google and they're going to type in neurofeedback for children. And if you're bidding on that keyword, what are you going to capture that click? You see, so that parent would have never actually Googled you because they haven't heard about your treatment before. And this is why Meta is an excellent platform, because it allows you to educate the audience on your treatment, especially in the form of videos. And more than just building the demand, it also helps build trust in the market, because the more people that see your clinic's name pop up in their feed and say that you do a specific thing for a specific somebody, well, you're not just going to get people who are actually interested in the treatment, but you're also going to get people who are going to refer their friend to the treatment because of the ad that they saw. But the problem with Meta is that these people are not very high intent. But what allows them to become higher intent is a back-end nurturing process, right? See, people on Meta, when they come across your ad that speaks to their specific symptom, you want to take them to a landing page on how your service assists in healing that specific symptom. But Meta has a catch, and this is why most clinics fail with Meta advertising. See, these people are not ready to book a treatment with you. They're interested in the treatment that you have to offer. What Meta does allow you to do is start building that top of the funnel. Get people to inquire about your services, and then have a follow-up sequence that nurtures them over time, giving them more education, more research, more resources that help them make a decision about your treatment itself. You never want to capture a lead on Meta who is not educated on what you're offering. And to do this, you want to have a landing page where you're explaining to them how your treatment helps resolve that symptom that they're experiencing. So that being said, if you don't have these follow-up processes like nurture emails, SMSs, booking links, or someone from your clinic reaching out to them to give them more information about the treatment, well, you're not ready for Meta yet. Okay, so now you know the strengths and weaknesses of both of these platforms. Now you should ask yourself these 4 questions in order to determine which one is right for your clinic right now. So question number 1 is, does demand for your treatment already exist in the market? What you're going to do is you can go to Google Keyword Planner, type in TMS treatment or neurofeedback treatment or whatever treatment that you have, see the search volume. If your search volume is capped at 200, that's fine. You can still put a little bit of budget on there, but the demand isn't there. So Meta is going to be your play in this. And the second question, do you have a robust follow-up system? If yes, then you can go with Meta, because these people on Meta that have submitted their inquiry are not ready for treatment yet, but your follow-up sequences allow them to get warmed up to the treatment. If you don't have this in place, go with Google. These people are higher intent, so even if you call them maybe a day later or 2 days later, you still have a chance of capturing them because they're already in the market looking for your service. And the last 2 questions are kind of intertwined, which is, what is your budget and what is your sales cycle? So if you have a high budget, I would say $1,500 to $2,000 a month, you can definitely test out Google Ads, because you're going to have to collect meaningful data, especially clicks and conversion rates, on a very limited pool that is usually higher cost. If you're on a limited budget, you can test out Meta to get the word out there. You can get cheaper clicks, more awareness, and you can also test out which messaging resonates in the market. And when it comes to sales cycle, most high ticket treatments are not same day decisions, and they usually take a little bit more nurturing. So what Meta allows you to do is allow you to stay in front of that audience while they're making a decision. And one thing worth flagging, just because of where we are in the calendar right now, is you have to figure out your Q4 strategy. Ad costs spike significantly in Q4. And this is not just because more clinics are entering the auction, but because retailers, e-commerce brands, and literally everyone who has a marketing budget for the holidays is jumping into those auctions as well. Which means that if you are trying to capture more demand in Q4, well, you have to start now. Because if you start in October, you don't have enough time to test which messaging works, what landing pages are good, what keyword should I be bidding on, you are going to be learning at a very costly rate. Okay, so the honest answer to the original question, you need both. You need Meta to create the demand for you in the market, and then you need Google to capture that demand. On Meta, you want to lead with the symptom. You want to get in front of people who are experiencing symptoms that you help solve. You want to give them education. You want to help build trust on Meta. Now, once you have built that trust, built that demand in the market, you want to use Google to capture those words. So let's say, for example, you plant the seed of TMS for depression on Meta. People get curious about it. They start seeing your ad. Someone goes to Google to research it more and they type in TMS for depression. Now, luckily, you are going to be bidding on that keyword. And when you capture that click, they're going to go through your website or your landing page and inquire with your clinic. So these two platforms actually work hand in hand and do not really compete with each other. They allow you to have an omnipresence for the services that you offer. So if you're starting from zero, here is my general guidance. If you have the budget, you're seeing that there is a demand for your service in the market, start with Google, see what your economics look like with a high intent traffic, and then you can layer on Meta on top of that. However, if there's no demand for your treatment in the market right now, then you really want to go on to Meta and expose to your audience what it is that you help them with. Either way, the goal is not picking a winner. The goal is to understand which ones work for your clinic for the specific type of treatment that you offer. So the real reason that clinic owners struggle with paid ads is not because the ads don't work. It's just that they didn't choose the right platform and optimize for that platform. Remember, Google is demand capture and Meta is demand creation. And when those two work together hand in hand, you have a thriving paid ads acquisition channel. So if you need help figuring out which ad system you need in order to help your clinic thrive, book a free consultation with me. We'll take a look at the services that you offer. We'll take a look at the market that you're in, and we'll see what is going to be the best platform for you to start getting more patients. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.